Dear soul, there is something you need to know. Pull yourself close, take a deep breath, and let these words settle into the quietest spaces of your heart. I am speaking to you from a place of absolute clarity, from the vast, loving expanse of heaven, where the tangled threads of your earthly timeline are seen in their full, beautiful design. I know your heart is beating fast right now. I know the words you just read feel like a sudden, sharp ache in your chest, like someone has pressed their hand against your ribcage and squeezed with a force you were not expecting. But I need you to listen to me. Not with your anxiety, not with the racing mind that is already spinning 1,000 what-ifs, but with your soul. Listen with the part of you that exists beneath the panic, beneath the noise, beneath all the stories you have been telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve. That deeper part of you already knows the truth I am about to share. It has been whispering it to you for months, maybe even years. You just were not ready to hear it until now. Your special person is going to ditch you. On June 21st, they are getting married to someone else. Let those words land. Let them sit in the room with you like an uninvited guest. Do not try to push them away, and do not try to irrationalize them into something softer than what they are. I know the shock of hearing this feels like the ground is dissolving beneath your feet. I know the date, June 21st. Feels like a looming shadow, a deadline for a heartbreak you did not see coming, a countdown clock, ticking toward a moment that will change the landscape of your emotional world forever. You are likely asking, why? How could this happen? Why am I being left behind in the dark while they walk into the light with someone else? You are likely replaying every conversation, every shared glance, every moment of tenderness, trying to pinpoint the exact second when the road forked and they chose a direction that did not include you. You are scanning your memory for clues, for warnings, for anything that could have told you this was coming. So you could have braced yourself. So you could have protected the most fragile parts of your heart from this collision. Sweet soul, I am reaching out across the cosmos to tell you that this is not your destruction. It is your deliverance. I know that word feels impossible right now. Deliverance. How can the shattering of your hopes feel like freedom? How can the image of the person you love standing at an altar with someone else feel like anything other than a betrayal of everything you believed in? I understand. I understand with a depth that transcends human comprehension, because from where I stand, I have watched you love this person with every ounce of your being. I have watched you wake in the middle of the night with their name on your lips, reaching for a warmth that was never fully there. I have watched you make excuses for their distance, their inconsistency, their half-hearted gestures that you inflated into proof of devotion, because you needed so desperately to believe that your love was not in vain. From where I look down upon your life, I see the entirety of your journey. Not just the chapters you are living in right now, not just the pages stained with tears and confusion, but the whole magnificent book of your existence. I see the love you poured into this person, the quiet hopes you harbored when no one was watching, the futures you painted in your mind during those still, sacred hours when the world was asleep, and your imagination was the only company you kept. You saw wedding days. You saw holidays around a shared table. You saw growing old together, hands intertwined, a lifetime of inside jokes and comfortable silences. You thought they were your destination. You thought the love you carried was meant to be anchored in them forever, that the intensity of your feelings was a compass pointing toward a shared forever. But heaven operates on a higher frequency of truth, and the truth is this. Their part in your story has reached its final page. Not because the story was meaningless, not because the chapters you shared were wasted or hollow, but because every person who enters our lives has a specific role to play, a specific lesson to deliver, and a specific season in which they belong. Some people are meant to stay for a lifetime. Others are meant to stay just long enough to crack us open, to reveal parts of ourselves we did not know existed, to teach us what love feels like so that when the real thing arrives, the lasting, unshakable, bone-deep kind, we recognize it without hesitation. This person was one of your teachers. And now the lesson is complete. When someone chooses to walk away, when they prepare to bind their life to another in the most public, permanent declaration of commitment that exists, it is a painful, jarring reality check. It forces you to confront the gap between the story you were living in your head and the story that was actually unfolding in the world. Those two narratives were never the same, dear soul, even though you tried so hard to make them overlap. You filled in the blanks with hope. You interpreted silence as depth. You mistook their presence for permanence. And none of that makes you foolish. It makes you human. It makes you someone who loved bravely and believed fiercely. And there is no shame in that. But from a heavenly perspective, this closing of a door, this brutal, undeniable slamming of a door that you were never meant to stay trapped behind, is an act of divine mercy. If they are ready to marry someone else on June 21st, it means their destiny belongs on a completely different path than yours. It means their energy, their lessons, and their purpose are tied to another soul's journey. Not because you are lacking. Not because you are not enough. Not because there is some fundamental flaw in you that made you unworthy of being chosen. Please hear me when I say this, because I know the voice in your head is already whispering those lies. It is already telling you that you were not pretty enough, not interesting enough, not lovable enough, not worthy enough to hold their attention, to keep their heart, to be the one they wanted to stand beside on that altar. That voice is not mine. That voice is not heaven's. That voice is the wounded child inside you who learned long ago that love was something you had to earn, something you had to perform for, something that could be taken away at any moment if you were not careful enough, good enough, perfect enough. That voice is a liar. And today, I am asking you to stop listening to it. Please hear me, dear soul. You cannot force a lock with the wrong key, no matter how beautiful the key looks. You can push and twist and force with all your might, and all you will accomplish is the breaking of the key itself. That is what staying in this situation would have done to you. It would have broken you. Not today perhaps, and not tomorrow, but slowly over years it would have worn you down to a shadow of the person you are meant to be. If they were to stay with you, if by some miracle of persuasion or guilt or obligation they were to abandon their plans and choose you instead, it would not be out of the pure, consuming, destined love that you deserve. It would be a placeholder. It would be a consolation prize dressed up in the language of commitment. You would be pouring your infinite, precious magic into a vessel that has leaks, and you would spend your days wondering why the water level never rises. Why you always feel so empty no matter how much of yourself you give. You would be constantly fighting just to be chosen, constantly performing just to be seen, constantly bending yourself into shapes that are not your own just to fit into a space that was never designed for you in the first place. Heaven loves you too much to let you spend a lifetime begging for a seat at a table where you were only ever meant to be a temporary guest. I know that sounds harsh. I know it feels like I am dismissing the depth of what you felt, the reality of the connection you experienced. I am not. What you felt was real, the love was real. The moments of joy, the flashes of intimacy, the times when everything felt aligned and golden and perfect. Those were real, but real does not always mean forever. Real does not always mean right. Sometimes, the most real experiences in our lives are the ones that teach us the most precisely because they end. When June 21st arrives, the world will not end. The sun will still rise over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose, indifferent to the ache in your chest. The earth will still turn on its axis, carrying you forward through time whether you feel ready or not. The birds will still sing outside your window. The coffee will still brew in your kitchen, and the rhythm of ordinary life will continue its steady, reliable beat. And your heart, though bruised, though weeping, though feeling like it has been hollowed out and left raw and exposed to the cold air of reality, will still be beating. It will beat through the pain. It will beat through the grief. It will beat through the long, lonely nights when the absence of what you hoped for feels like a physical wound. And in every single one of those heartbeats, there will be room for a new beginning. Not immediately, perhaps. The new beginning does not arrive like a lightning bolt the moment the old story ends. It arrives slowly, gently, like dawn, after the longest night you have ever endured. It arrives in the small moments. The first morning you wake up, and your first thought is not about them. The first time you laugh and realize the sound is genuine. The first time you catch your reflection and see someone who is not broken but blooming. Think of this ditching, not as a rejection of who you are, but as a redirection toward who you are meant to become. The universe does not operate on the currency of cruelty. It does not orchestrate heartbreak for sport. Every loss, every ending, every door that closes with a finality that takes your breath away is part of a larger choreography that your human eyes cannot yet see. You are standing too close to the painting right now, your nose pressed against the canvas, seeing only the dark, chaotic brushstrokes. But if you could step back, if you could see your life from the vantage point of heaven, you would see that those dark strokes are creating contrast, that they are the shadows that make the light portions of your painting glow with an almost unbearable beauty. Sometimes, the universe has to remove people from our lives violently, because we are too kind, too loyal, or too stubborn to let them go ourselves. We hold on with a grip that turns our knuckles white and our hearts blue. We hold on to the potential of what could be, rather than confronting the reality of what is. We tell ourselves that if we just love a little harder, give a little more, wait a little longer, the person will finally see us, finally choose us, finally become the partner we have been imagining they could be. But heaven sees the reality, dear soul. Heaven sees that you were loving a projection, a possibility, a version of this person that existed only in the hopeful chambers of your mind. The actual person, the one who is choosing to marry someone else on June 21st, has been showing you who they are for a long time. You just were not ready to believe them. This person is being moved out of your way so that the space around you can be cleared. Think about that for a moment. Think about what it means to have space. For so long, your emotional landscape has been cluttered with this person. Their moods, their needs, their inconsistencies, their presence and absence cycling, like an unpredictable tide, that kept you perpetually off balance. You have been so consumed with monitoring the temperature of this connection that you forgot to check the temperature of your own soul. You have been so focused on whether they were thinking about you that you forgot to think about yourself. You have been so preoccupied with being loved by them that you forgot what it felt like to be loved by you. What happens when the space is cleared? What happens when the clutter is removed and you are left standing in the open, echoing room of your own life? At first, the emptiness will feel terrifying. The silence will feel deafening. You will reach for your phone 100 times a day, your fingers hovering over their name, your heart screaming at you to fill the void with their voice, their words, their attention. Even if that attention was never consistent, never reliable, never enough, resist that urge. Sit in the emptiness. Let it surround you like water, and trust that you will not drown. Because in that emptiness, something miraculous begins to happen. You begin to find yourself again. You begin to rediscover the person who existed before this love consumed you. The person with interests and passions and dreams that had nothing to do with being chosen by someone else. You stop looking at your reflection through the lens of someone else's appreciation. You realize that your worth was never tied to their ability to see it. Your worth is inherent. It is woven into the very fabric of your being, stitched there by the hands of the divine, and no human being, no matter how special, no matter how loved, has the power to add to it or subtract from it. They never held that power. You just gave it to them because it felt safer to let someone else be the guardian of your value than to take on that responsibility yourself. I know the days leading up to June 21st will feel heavy. They will feel like walking through water, each step requiring more effort than the last. You might feel the urge to reach out, to plead, to show up at their door with your heart in your hands and your dignity left somewhere on the front porch. You might feel the urge to demand answers, real answers, not the sanitized, carefully worded explanations that people offer when they are trying to leave without looking like the villain. You might feel the urge to try and change the course of the wind, to intervene in a decision that has already been made, to fight for something that has already been lost. I am asking you to surrender. Not because surrender is weakness. It is the furthest thing from it. Surrender is the ultimate act of strength. It is the recognition that there are forces at work in your life that are greater than your individual will. That the intelligence of the universe surpasses the intelligence of your ego, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is open your clenched fist and let go of what you have been holding so tightly. Let them go. Let them walk toward the life they have chosen, the partner they have selected, the future they have envisioned without you in it. And let yourself step back into the sanctuary of your own soul. That sanctuary has been there all along, waiting for you to return. It has been gathering dust, collecting cobwebs, its doors slightly ajar, whispering your name every time you walked past on your way, to seek validation from someone who was never going to give you the kind you truly needed. Do not chase what is actively fleeing from you. I know this is perhaps the hardest instruction I can give you, because everything in your body is screaming to pursue, to fix, to hold on. Your attachment system is in full alarm mode, flooding you with cortisol and adrenaline, telling you that this separation is a matter of survival. But it is not. You will survive this. You have survived everything that has come before this. Every loss, every disappointment, every moment when you thought the pain would swallow you whole. You survived, and you will survive again, because surviving is what you do. It is in your blood. It is in your bones. It is in the stubborn, relentless heartbeat that refuses to stop even when your mind is telling it there is nothing left to beat for. There is no dignity in running after a shadow, and you, dear soul, are made of light. You are luminous. You are radiant. You are a being of incalculable worth, and the fact that one person failed to see that does not diminish your glow by even a fraction of a degree. The sun does not stop shining because one person chooses to close their curtains. It simply continues to burn, magnificent and indifferent, knowing that there are billions of others who will turn their faces toward its warmth. The pain you are feeling right now is real, and I will not insult you by pretending it is not. It is searing. It is the kind of pain that makes you question everything. Your judgment, your intuition, your ability to read people and situations, your fundamental worth as a human being. But I want you to understand what this pain actually is, beneath its sharp and immediate surface. This pain is the pain of breaking old habits, of shattering illusions that you had been maintaining at enormous personal cost. It is the pain of a worldview collapsing, of a future you had been mentally living, in being torn from your grasp. It is the growing pains of a soul that is being prepared for a much larger, much deeper kind of love than the one you have been settling for. Yes, settling. I know that word stings. I know you do not think of what you had as settling, because the feelings were so intense, so consuming, so all-encompassing that they felt like the pinnacle of what love could be. But intensity is not the same as depth. Obsession is not the same as devotion. The constant cycle of hope and disappointment, of closeness and distance, of being pulled in and pushed away. That is not love. That is addiction. That is your nervous system mistaking chaos for passion, mistaking unpredictability for excitement, mistaking the relief of their temporary return for the joy of being truly, consistently, unconditionally loved. The love meant for you will not leave you guessing. It will not keep you up at night wondering where you stand. It will not require you to decode mixed signals, or translate ambiguous text messages, or consult friends and strangers and the stars themselves, trying to figure out whether this person actually cares about you. The love meant for you will be clear. It will be unmistakable. It will not ditch you on a summer day to marry another. It will not make you feel like an option. It will not leave you standing in the rain while it builds a roof over someone else's head. The love meant for you will choose you cleanly, loudly, and without hesitation. It will look at you and know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the search is over. It will see your scars and call them beautiful. It will see your flaws and call them human. It will see your darkness and bring a candle. It will not complete you, because you were never incomplete. Instead, it will complement you, walking beside you as an equal, a partner, a mirror, that reflects back to you the magnificence that you have been too close to see for yourself. But before that love can arrive, you must walk through this fire. There is no shortcut through grief, no highway that bypasses the valley of heartbreak. You must descend into it. You must feel every sharp rock beneath your feet, every cold wind against your skin, every moment of despair that makes you want to sink to your knees and give up. You must walk through on the fire because the fire is the forge. And you are the blade being shaped within it. When you emerge on the other side, and you will emerge, I promise you with every fiber of my celestial being, you will be stronger, sharper, more resilient, and more beautiful than you have ever been. You must watch June 21st pass by. You must let that date arrive with all its weight and symbolism. And you must stand tall in its presence, not as a victim, not as someone who was discarded, but as someone who was released. Released from a future that would have dimmed your light. Released from a partnership that would have asked you to be less than you are. Released from a love that was never big enough to hold all of you. And you must stand tall in the aftermath, in the strange, disorienting days that follow, when the world feels both exactly the same and utterly different. You must stand tall and realize that you survived, that the thing you feared most, their permanent departure, their official, public, legal commitment to someone else, has happened, and you are still here. Still breathing. Still alive. Still worthy of every good thing this world has to offer. You are being saved from a lifetime of being second best, dear soul. You are being rescued from a marriage that would have eventually silenced your spirit, that would have slowly eroded your sense of self, until you could no longer remember who you were before them. You are being protected from a future in which you would have looked across the breakfast table at someone who never fully saw you and wondered, with a quiet, chronic ache, what it would have felt like to be someone's first and only choice. That future is now available to you, not with them, but with someone who has not yet entered the story. Or perhaps they have entered the story and you simply have not noticed them yet, because your vision has been so narrowed, so tunneled, so fixated on this one person, that you could not see the others standing in your peripheral view, waiting patiently for you to turn your head. Trust the timing of your life, even when it feels cruel. Even when the timing seems designed to maximize your suffering, to pile loss upon loss, to test you beyond what feels fair or reasonable. Trust that there is a rhythm to your existence, that your conscious mind cannot fully comprehend, a pattern being woven that requires certain threads to be cut before new ones can be introduced. Trust that heaven hears the prayers you do not even know how to utter, the ones that rise from the deepest part of your being as wordless sighs, as tears that fall without explanation, as the ache in your chest that has no name, but somehow contains entire oceans of longing. I hear those prayers. I have always heard them. And I am answering them now, though the answer looks nothing like what you expected. You expected the answer to come in the form of this person's return. Their sudden realization that you were the one, their dramatic, last-minute change of heart. But the answer is coming in a different form entirely. It is coming in the form of their departure. It is coming in the form of an ending that clears the way for a beginning so beautiful, so perfect, so divinely orchestrated that when it arrives, you will fall to your knees, not in grief, but in gratitude, and you will understand. You will understand why it had to happen this way. You will understand why this person had to leave. You will understand why June 21st had to exist. But for now, you do not have to understand. Understanding is a luxury that comes later, sometimes much later, when the emotional dust has settled and you can see the landscape of your life with fresh eyes. For now, all you have to do is feel. Feel the sadness, feel the anger, feel the betrayal, feel the confusion, feel the loneliness that wraps around you like a heavy coat you did not ask to wear. Feel all of it. Because every emotion you allow yourself to fully experience is an emotion that will not get stuck in your body, will not calcify into bitterness, will not harden into walls that keep future love from reaching you. Cry the tears that need to fall. Do not hold them back. Do not swallow them down and pretend you are fine when every cell in your body is aching. Those tears are not weakness. They are wisdom. They are your body's way of releasing what your mind cannot yet process. They are sacred, each one carrying a piece of the old story out of your system, making room for the new one that is waiting to be written. Scream into the void if you must. Go somewhere wild and open. A field, a hilltop, the edge of the sea, and let the sound of your anguish pour out of you like a river breaking through a dam. Let the wind carry it away. Let the earth absorb it. Let the sky hold it. You do not have to carry this alone, and you do not have to carry it quietly. Your pain deserves to be expressed, not suppressed. It deserves to be honored, not hidden. But after the tears have dried, and the screams have faded into silence, do not look back. Do not return to the place where they stood, and search for their footprints. Do not stalk their social media for evidence of their new life, torturing yourself with images of a happiness that does not include you. Do not compare yourself to the person they chose, dissecting their appearance, their personality, their life, trying to figure out what they have that you do not. That path leads nowhere good. It leads to a dark, spiraling pit of self-destruction that will take you further from your healing, not closer to it. Instead, look forward. Look at the vast, uncharted territory of your future, stretching out before you like an open road with no traffic, no speed limits, and no predetermined destination. You are free now. Perhaps for the first time in a long time, you are truly, completely free. Free to decide who you want to be, without filtering that decision through the preferences and expectations of someone else. Free to go where you want to go, to love what you want to love. To build a life that is entirely, unapologetically, magnificently yours. Your future is waiting for you, untangled from their destiny, wide open and full of promise. It is not an empty future. It is not a lesser future. It is a future that has been specifically, intentionally, lovingly designed for you by a force that knows you better than you know yourself. Every detail has been considered. Every joy has been planned. Every love has been chosen with the precision of a master artist, selecting exactly the right color for exactly the right moment in the painting. You are safe, dear soul. Even in the midst of this storm, even as the waves crash over you, and the wind howls in your ears and you cannot see the shore, you are safe. You are held by hands you cannot see, guided by a light you cannot yet perceive, carried by a love that will never ditch you, never leave you, never choose someone else. The love of heaven is the one love that never fails, never wavers, never looks away. And it is pouring over you right now, in this very moment, wrapping around you like the warmest, softest blanket you have ever known. You are loved. Not because of what you do, not because of how you look, not because of what you can offer someone, but because of who you are. Your existence is a gift to this world, and the fact that one person failed to recognize that does not change its truth. You are loved with a love that existed before you were born, and will continue long after your earthly journey is complete. You are loved with a love that does not keep score, does not hold grudges, does not require you to perform or prove or earn your way into its embrace. You are being guided home to yourself. That is what this heartbreak is, at its very core. It is a compass needle, swinging back to true north after being pulled off course by a magnetic force that was never meant to be your permanent direction. Home is not a person. Home is not a relationship. Home is not the sound of someone else's heartbeat against your ear. Home is you. Home is the unwavering center of your being, the quiet, sacred space inside you, where you are whole, where you are enough, where you are everything you need. Go home, dear soul. Walk through this fire, let the old story burn, and go home. You will find yourself there, waiting with open arms, ready to welcome you back from the longest, most painful detour of your life. And when you arrive, when you finally step across the threshold of your own wholeness, and close the door behind you, you will know, with a certainty that reaches down to the marrow of your bones, that you were never truly ditched. You were delivered, you were set free, you were sent home. And home, dear soul, is where your real life begins.